What's going on, everybody? I'm N64 Josh. This is Gamers and Karts Getting Interviewed. My special guest tonight is none other than Snake Eyes. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, not too much, man. Hot here.
Yeah. Likewise. I got a little sweat on my brow tonight. That's for sure. So,
Yep.
I'm really glad you reached out to me to do this. We do this show live. Twitch.tv/N64Josh, Monday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's out of the way. Let's talk about you, man. Let's talk about your history with the with Nintendo. Where did it all start?
Well, for me, it started probably the same place that a lot of people started. My dad was in the military, and we moved in 1989, and they bought us a Nintendo because we were moving. And we moved at the start of the summer, so there was like 2 months of we didn't know any kids in town. So that's kind of where I got going with Nintendo. My
Mario
dad's
Duck
always
Hunt?
really
The Mario Duck
really
Hunt
hated
bundle?
video games, so I didn't have very many games, and I never got any more Nintendo games after 1989
Oh, interesting. Okay.
for a pretty long time. So, but I played the heck out of Karate Kid.
Yeah,
And,
sweep the leg.
Mario 2 is the one that I had that everyone likes. But I live vicariously through friends, and I played a lot of like Mario 3 and Double Dragon 2 and that kind of stuff.
Doing the
and,
old like trades and stuff like that, like, hey, you want to borrow my Mario 2 for your Mario 3 kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I had some good friends, and they were just like, after a while, they're like, just take it. Like, they didn't want any of my games. So yeah, and then we didn't get any more Nintendo games until like the mid '90s, when local video stores started to sell off their games for Nintendo because they didn't want them anymore.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, for a long time I just had them ones.
Do you
And then
do you
yeah.
still have any of your old stuff?
No, I don't. It got lost or stolen in a move.
Oh, okay.
So I had that original NES up until like about 2007, and then the box with all of my cool Nintendo stuff went missing.
Oh no,
So
that's unfortunate.
yeah,
That
and
is
so
unfortunate.
I basically just kind of live vicariously through Nintendo Power. I love Nintendo Power.
Oh yeah.
And we're actually, I don't know if you've mentioned it before, we're actually in the cover date right now of the first issue of Nintendo Power.
Really?
It was, it was July, August 1989. So
I love that cover, man.
oh yeah, the Mario 2 clay cover. So I lived the heck through Nintendo Power, and we used to have like book orders at school.
Oh yeah.
And and sometimes there'd be Nintendo books available. So I bought those, and I used to want just the worst games because that what was featured in these magazines that I got. I'd be like, oh man, I wish I had Silent Service. And then years later I play it, and it's like, oh my god, I'm glad I didn't have this when I was a kid.
Dude, I recently bought that game because, like, again, like nostalgia factor, but that was one I played with my best friend. Like, he had it, and it was like, let's play this till we figured it out. And once we figured it out, it was like, hey, this isn't so bad, but like, you know, it still wasn't like top tier or anything. That's for sure.
Well, it's very slow and methodical. It's definitely not like some kind of arcade action game. So I don't think I would have had the patience when I was a kid. But back then, because my dad was in the Navy, I was like, oh man, I want this so bad. And he's just all anti-Nintendo.
Oh, that's too bad.
So for a long time, I wasn't allowed to have a job when I was a kid. School was my job. And so about 1998, N64 has been out for 2 years and all that. I finally save up enough money and buy a Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So
I like it. I like
and,
it.
and yeah, and this was again, it was from a video store that
Okay.
was getting rid of them, and I got all the games basically. They were so cheap at the time. About the only classic game I didn't have for that was Metroid. It was Super Metroid
Oh,
and Super Castlevania. But you know, I went nuts on like Mario World, and I used to really like Maximum Carnage. I used to really like beat 'em ups. Um, just all them games I played. Final Fantasy and Illusion of Gaia and Breath of Fire, and like just I got really into RPGs at the time because when you're an angsty teenager, that's the best time for some of them. Not all of them, but
maybe I was never an
when
angsty
it's
teenager. Maybe that's why I never played any RPGs.
yeah. Well, when you're in a certain mind space and you're like, oh, Cloud, you're so right, and it's just like, oh man, he's just crying all the time. Like I can't go back to those. So, or not that one anyway. I loved it when I played it, but we're past that now.
So you mentioned Maximum Carnage. Like no one's mentioned that game, I don't think, before. Like that's
Well,
that's such
nobody
a great
likes
title.
Maximum Carnage. I've found out over the years, and it's basically because it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. But even though it's Spider-Man and Venom, it's only a single-player game,
Right.
and it's not it's tuned. It's a little bit overtuned. I used to be able to beat it, but it's very difficult. So it's easy to get surrounded. So like people like it, but it's not in that top tier. It's not like it's a final or a what was it?
Final Fight.
Final Fight.
Yeah.
It's not like it's one of those or um, a Double Dragon or Streets of Rage, something like that. It's a tier below. But I used to love that game.
I got
Played a lot with my brother, who's about 9 years younger than me. So
that game had the sweet
got a lot of
red
Super Mario
cart.
time.
The cart was like plastic red, right?
The cart was red, yeah.
Yeah, and then the beginning of that game has one of my favorite lines in any video game ever, and it's Carnage saying, "Some people say I suffer from insanity, but I enjoy every minute of it." I was like, that is the best line I've ever seen.
My favorite from that game. It's also from the intro. It's also Carnage, and he's threatening the guards, and he's all like in a straight jacket and everything. And actually, because I'm a big Spider-Man fan too, and they actually did a super good job in kind of digitizing the Maximum Carnage comic series that came out at that time. There was a mini series for it.
Okay.
And a lot of all of the cutscenes in the game are actually panels directly from the comic. But
Gotcha.
He's threatening the guards, and he's like, "Oh well, when I get out of here, I'll kill you quick, Parker," or whatever guard's name was. And then when he gets his symbiote back, he's like, "Hey, remember when I said I'd be quick? I lied."
Oh, such a great. I really can't wait to get that game back in my collection. Like that was one that I only rented, periodically. So it was. I didn't get a lot of time with it.
I really liked it. It's overtuned, but when you have all the time to just play through all those games, you get good at some of them. So that's pretty much it. So and then from there, after high school, when I moved out, I had to make a choice between expensive N64 cartridges and really cheap PlayStation.
Okay.
So I went there, but I've always had a Nintendo handheld, starting from the Game Boy.
Okay. All right.
I had one of those. I had a Color. I had an Advance SP, and then the DS, and then the 3DS. So I've got like a straight through line, and I do have all that stuff. I put pictures up on the Discord when I found all my Game Boy stuff. I do still have a bunch of that.
What were some of your faves?
So,
Let's start with the original Game Boy. What were some of your faves?
I really liked Ninja Turtles: Fall of the Foot Clan, which is again a non-popular game, but it's actually the first game I ever beat from beginning to end. Tetris, of course, was huge. It was really good. It's the only game my dad's ever liked, and so we used to play that. I like the Batman game from Sunsoft, and
Okay, all right.
Mario Land 1. I had Mario Land 1. But again, after that initial thing, we got the Game Boy for a big trip that we took that year, and it was something for the kids to do in the car because there's 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And after that initial blitz of here's all the stuff we're getting with it, we never got another Game Boy game until Pokemon, I think. From 1991 to 98, we had those games, and that's it.
Was there a lot of borrowing and trading with friends going on again then?
A little bit. I did manage to get my hands on Link's Awakening.
Okay.
And my friends and I in high school used to sit in the library at lunch, and we all played through that together. There was 4 or 5 of us, all playing the same single-player game on our Game Boys together.
Nerds.
So, yeah, I know, right? Well, that's why you went to the library, is so that the bullies couldn't find you.
Right.
So.
So I can't. Did you say you went with the Game Boy Color and stuff also?
Yeah, I did eventually get a Game Boy Color, and then, after I moved out, I just got about 40,000 games because I had my own money and there was no one to stop me. So after about 2000, I had just tons and tons of games.
Did I just throw fireballs backwards at you?
Yes.
What a jerk of a host.
Whatever.
I'm such a jerk.
Not that big of a deal.
Chat is saying that I'm racing like this is for the championship. We're just talking.
Well, I saw on our friends list that all time against you, I'm 7-73. So, whatever. We play this game for fun, right?
Exactly. It's the only game I have fun with. I don't have to read anything.
Not even Splatoon anymore. Just get dragged down by the rest of the team.
So, Game Boy Color, one of my favorite games on there was Mario Golf. Did you play that one?
I did not. I have it now for my 3DS. I got it on the eShop, and I really like it.
Yes.
I haven't beaten it, but I'm really excited to play Golf Story because it's by the same developer, isn't it?
No. Golf Story is like a 2-man team out of like Australia, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but it plays a lot like those old school handheld golf games, where it was more like an RPG and you had to level up and stuff like that. There's a ton of that going on.
Yeah, well, that's what I was hearing about it, and last time it went on sale, I think around E3, I picked it up, but it's in the old backlog of shame. I'm trying to work through before I spend tons of money.
I don't know anything about that.
Right?
So, okay.
Well, that's like everyone's like every streamer right now is on Octopath, and I'm like, oh, I want to play Octopath so bad, but a new game in Canada is $80, and I'm like, you know what? I have like, I don't know, 6 or 7 games at least. I haven't even opened or like launched if they're digital games. I'm like, I got to play through something else, like something before I go spend another full price.
Oh,
so.
I get it, man. It's there's so much software for the Switch right now. It's unreal. It's crazy. But
it's a good problem to have. It's a long way from like N64 and GameCube era, where everyone's like, "Where's the games?"
Right.
Or you got to wait for that drip feed. It's a little bit too far the other way, I think, maybe, with some of the stuff I've seen on the eShop lately. Some of those digital titles that are just visual novels of whatever. I can't remember. I think I was making fun of one when you were away. And now I can't even remember what it is anymore. It's not even like the ad for it on the eShop isn't even translated into English very well. It's like make out with 4 girls, 2 touching, and it's like, what? No, this is terrible. This is what they mean by 30 games a week, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I saw those in the eShop too and was like, what is this? Like,
But good games. It's nice to have tons of good games, like lots of choice. So,
Yeah, I don't know if we need that other stuff.
well, we don't, but going back to games that you play when you're a teenager, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess maybe for a certain demographic, that game is going to rule.
Careful, kids. Careful.
Careful, parents.
It's dangerous out there. So, what were
Knock before you come into the game room.
Yeah. What were Did you end up getting the 64 after the fact, or did you?
I've never gotten a 64. It's real funny. I guess maybe not funny is not the right word, but my brother got a 64 because back then my dad and I didn't really get along, and I moved out like the day after graduation, and we get along good now and everything is fine, but my brother, who like I say is about 9 years younger than me, had a little bit of a different experience growing up, and Dad did buy him all those game systems. So he had an N64, and I would come home after when Dad wasn't home, and I actually played through Ocarina of Time on my brother's 64 after I moved out. But
That's
the
good.
64 is a big blind spot for me. I don't. I've never played basically every game except for Ocarina. So you got company in your
Mario
thing
64.
of never having played Mario 64. Yeah, so
Welcome to
the
the club.
N64 is a big blind spot.
I'm glad I'm not alone anymore.
I played at some friends, yeah, right. I played at some friends, stuff like Blast Corps and GoldenEye. It's not like I've never touched an N64, but I never had one, and I never really wanted one. And then at the GameCube, like I said, when I moved out, I had to kind of make a choice between those expensive carts, and they were like $80 back then in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
$80-$90 for a cartridge. And when you're working at McDonald's, you gotta make a choice between one game every 3 or 4 months or a $50 PlayStation game. So during the GameCube era, I had this big backlog, or not backlog, but I had this big collection of PS1 games. And the PS2 was a DVD player, which were expensive back then, and would play all my games. So I went with that instead of a GameCube. And then when the Wii came out, I got that almost the first day. I was able to find one very close to launch, like within a week of them launching. And so I kind of dipped into the GameCube backlog then.
I see. All right. Well, let's fast forward a little bit, man, to the Switch. What are you enjoying on that system?
I like a lot of stuff. I had a lot of fun with Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. That game was one of those games that was eye-opening. It was so fun to do, and like there's all kinds of emergent gameplay that you could end up having. And I really like the story that when I came out of the cave in Breath of the Wild, and it's just there's that panoramic view, and it's like, oh man, this is so sweet. And I just picked up a stick off of the ground, and I went down to where the old man was standing by a fire, and I talked to him, and he's like, you can throw your weapon by pushing this button. And I'm like, cool. And then when I turned away from him, I brushed the stick through the fire by accident. So now I'm holding onto a flaming stick. I was like, oh, dang. And so I threw it like he just taught me. And I started a forest fire. And I was like, oh, Smokey's going to kill me. and that was the first 5 minutes of Breath of the Wild for me. I'm like, this is great. And then I just played like 120 hours straight. So
dude, I love it.
That was really cool.
Such a great...
And I'm just, yeah, exactly. It was so great.
Yeah, like like you said, coming out of that cave and just like when you first look at it, you're like, how am I gonna do all this? it, it was almost a little overwhelming. Like, okay.
Yeah, but there's so much of it. Like, you don't have to go look up guides or anything like that. The game will pretty much teach you what to do as you go along. And then, and you just kind of like, you're like, the first time I fought a Lionel was actually by accident. And it just ripped the heck out of me. I'm like, well, dead now. And I had to restart. But then eventually, you work up the guts to go fight a Lionel, and then you learn how to fight them, and you just keep on going on from there. And I really liked the little side stories that were everywhere. I got a little bit tired of the ninjas jumping at me all the time.
Yeah.
But, whatever. They're like, oh, I'm gonna avenge Master Koga. I'm like, you are like 500 in line, lady. Like, come on. You're gonna... No, just go. Just run.
Move along. Move along.
What else have I been playing a lot of? I've been having a lot of fun with indies and some of the digital games. And it's stuff that I probably wouldn't even pick up if it were not on the Switch. Stuff like if Streets of Red were on Steam, I would be like, oh man, that looks so cool. And then I would never buy it. Gotcha. And but I bought it on the Switch, and actually I've played through it with friends at when they come over for just hanging out and stuff. Astro Bears is surprisingly fun. Whenever it's on sale for like $1, you gotta buy it. Like, it's great. That kind of stuff. I'm having fun with a lot of that type of thing. I'm playing through I Am Setsuna right now. I've really enjoyed Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon.
Celeste.
I loved West of Loathing. I haven't picked up Celeste. I'm not that patient. And all I hear is that Celeste, you die like 40,000 times. And I didn't really like Meat Boy because of that.
I see.
So I don't have the patience for Celeste. I'm sure it's great and everyone loves it. And it's supposed to be real cool, but it's not my kind of game.
I see. But you're liking West of Loathing, huh?
Yeah, I beat West of Loathing. It's a lot of fun. It was it's just funny all throughout the entire thing. It makes you chuckle every time somebody says something.
Yeah, the writing was pretty comical from from what I played. I was pretty impressed at how funny it was.
Yeah, it's really cute, and it's all clean fun and everything too. So that's kind of nice. Not everything has to be grim and gritty and full of swears. So. And then I've had fun with some of the stuff that other people have fun with too. Splatoon and what I've managed to play of Mario Tennis so far has been really cool.
Okay.
So
I was gonna say, are you doing like the Fortnite thing too?
No, Fortnite's not my type of thing. I'm not really a shooter guy.
Okay.
And no, I've watched some streams of Fortnite, and I just don't. That's not a thing that I enjoy.
I see. I gotcha. So that have you checked out, like, as far as indies go, have you checked out like Inside or The Way Remastered?
No, I haven't checked out them yet. I'm playing I Am Setsuna right now. That's what I'm putting most of my time into so that I can justify buying Octopath.
I see.
But I haven't been checking, or I haven't been getting those. I have, like I say, a little bit of a backlog right now, and The Way and A Robot Named Fight looks really cool, but I haven't picked it up yet. Some of those I definitely want to check out.
So, what are some of the games that are still in their packaging?
The only game that I have that's still in its packaging is Battle Chasers Night War.
Okay. Oh, that game looks so gorgeous.
I know, it looks really cool. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna buy this, and it was part of the reason I bought it was because everyone was talking about it online, like reviewers and all that, and it sounded really cool. It sounds like a really awesome game, and I went into Walmart one day, and they had mispriced it at like $26 or something like that. So I picked it up basically for that reason. And I do want to play it because I hear it's a really cool game, but it's just part of the backlog right now.
No, I get it. I get it. There's so many, so many. So how about games like Rocket League or is that one that you've played much?
I haven't picked up Rocket League yet. I know it's big in the Discord and all that, but it's just not one that I've picked up.
I see. What would you say is your most anticipated Switch game coming out?
Well, it's definitely Smash.
Okay.
And I'm also really interested in what they're going to be doing for the online. I like retro games a lot. I have the SNES Classic and the NES Classic, and just like a ridiculous number of classic games on my 3DS. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with that. I really want online leaderboards, and I want multiplayer. Like if I could jump into Double Dragon 2 with people from Discord and that kind of stuff. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, fingers are crossed that it's going to be pretty smooth. And I mean, I would think we should be hearing soon about a beta. I can't imagine we wouldn't get.
Well, I think didn't they say when they announced that when they announced the first 10 Nintendo games, and didn't they say that they're going to give us the rest of the details in August?
I believe so. Yeah, and then as far
so we'll get them in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll get the service in September, and we'll just see how it goes. I'm sure there'll be indignation when Nintendo doesn't do exactly what we want, but
oh yeah. As far as a beta though, for Smash, like I really hope the online for that game is going. I mean, they fixed tennis right away, so hopefully.
Yeah, and they just made some changes to Koopa Jr. I think too, right?
Bowser Jr.
So,
yeah.
So they're gonna get going. When they first announced it as December 7th, I was like, oh no. But the more I think about it, and the more I hear from people online like you or RJS or Nintendo Voice Chat or any of that, the idea that they're going to launch the service and then fine tune it so that we don't have all this janky lag that we get whenever we try and play Smash 4 or any of that. If they can work out those bugs so that Smash comes out and it's flawless online, I think in the long run that'd be better. So
yeah, give that game some time to cook for sure. So
yeah, and also give them time to work out any bugs, any netcode issues, anything they have with their online service, because they've never really done one before. So there'll be a bit of a learning curve for Nintendo to get this going too.
Yeah, maybe they can talk to their buddies over at Microsoft to help them get that.
Yeah, well,
smooth.
I don't know if all the kisses that they're blowing each other is going to really cross over if Microsoft thinks they might lose a dime out of it.
Right.
Right. That whole thing's been so annoying to me. Like, it sucks that Sony's, being like they are. But, like, you look at Microsoft in the past, and especially Nintendo in the past, when Nintendo has the slightest advantage in any way, they immediately strong-arm everybody all the time. Like, that's what they do. And so everyone who's getting on Sony, I understand, but it's also like, come on. If it were Nintendo would be just Nintendo would be playing the same game. So
what's one of the things that's kind of interesting with like Microsoft and Nintendo is they've actually had the relationship for quite a while. Like there were DS titles like Viva Pinata, right, which was an Xbox exclusive. Like, so we've seen some crossover stuff with them for quite a few years. It's just it was mainly just DS stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes.
It's nice seeing Minecraft everywhere, though. I'm glad Microsoft's going about that way. So, it's good. It's good. Well, hey man, is there first? Thanks for taking the time to join me. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun. I like these interviews. I put on Twitch on mute so I could read the chat, and then I didn't look at it once.
They were making fun of you the entire time, so don't go back and read it. No, they weren't. They weren't. At one point, I think when you said you something about not wanting the 64 or choosing, they said end the interview.
Oh yeah, I see. Cool Red Luigi says 2 people who haven't played Mario 64.
Yeah.
You know what? The funny thing is too, I've bought Mario 64 multiple times.
Right.
I've bought it on both of my Wii's,
Mm-hmm.
and I had it for the DS for a while, and I never played it.
Yeah, I've started it on the DS. I've played it on my Wii. I've played it on my Wii U a little bit, but yeah, just never played all the way through it. So, do you have a Twitter?
It's one of those things. Like, I do not have Twitter. I am nowhere. Drop in Discord when I can.
Okay.
I have to watch it because if I'm busy at work, I can't be in Discord too. So I drop in Discord when I can. I don't have Twitter though, or Instagram, or any of that stuff. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, the Discord today was a crazy day. There were hundreds of messages. Like.
Was there?
Oh man.
I'll have to look back through that.
It was it was quite the day in Discord. It started off slow, and then if you want to kill all productivity, just jump into the N64 Josh Discord, and you will.
Yeah, well, I mean, some days when it's slow at work and I'm not supervised, I'm actually never supervised. I'm the boss, but when on some days I'll jump into Discord and I'll be chatting for a little while, and then I'll look at my watch and it's like 11 o'clock and I've done 2 things, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I better leave this.
Right.
Just been talking all morning.
Yeah, no, I get it. So,
But
all right,
cool.
man.
It's because there's cool people in Discord.
Oh, there is. Hey, and if you guys want to join the Discord, if you're watching this after the fact or you're in here live, n64josh.com/Discord. That's your invite right there. So, hook it up. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. That would be awesome. You got any questions, comments? Let me know down below. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. So you take it easy.